Well, in this first lesson, I'm really excited to show you the process of taking just a regular After Effects document and turning it into a stereoscopic document. So in After Effects, we're going to take a look at Lesson 2, which is opened up here, and I really don't have anything special going on in here. I've got a no parking sign, I've got a building in the foreground, a building in the background, and then a background layer, which is this kind of gradient sky. And that's it. If you take a look at my projects, I don't have much in here either. So one of the first things that we'll do is create a new folder here, and we'll call this Assets. And I'm just going to take these PSDs and solids and dump them in there, okay? And that's going to help keep everything clean. We're going to keep everything focused. So with this all tucked away, what we now need to do is focus on this comp. For this comp, we're going to need depth. And for depth to really work, we're going to need to turn all of these into 3D layers. So let's just go ahead and go over to our switches. And there's a little cube here under 3D layers. We'll activate that on all 3 layers. And with all of them selected, I'll hit P to show my positional data here. And if you take a look, they're all sitting at 0. So let's go to my top view. So I'll switch my cameras from active to top. And if we take a look, all of our layers are sitting right here at 0 depth. So let's go ahead and get these spread out, and then we'll take a look at what that looks like. All right. I'm going to go ahead and go to my background. Go ahead and send that back to about 2100, 2200, somewhere around there, and get that pushed back. We'll go ahead and take this next layer, which is this city layer here. Okay, and I'm going to push that back. So we'll push that back quite a bit, something like 12 or let's say 1300. Now obviously it's gotten really small since we got it pushed back so far, so we'll scale this back up, and what I'm going to use is this water line to reorganize or reline up with this front cityscape here. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and maybe make that a little bit bigger. Okay. All right, and then we'll take this top one here, and I'm just going to move that back to about 500-ish, okay, somewhere in that vicinity. And we'll just go ahead and, again, scale and get this positioned up and kind of just match up the water there. All right, and we're not going to move this parking sign, so I want this to be at 0. All right. So let's take a quick look here. We're at 0, 500, 1300, 2200 and change. Okay, we're not looking at this to be 100% exact. But now that we have depth, let's take a look at the top view. And you'll see now how not everything is spread out right here at 0. We've got 0, this first layer pushed back, the second layer pushed back further, and the background all the way in the back. So this is pretty cool because what we have now is this really neat way of showing depth. The problem is I don't see depth. That's kind of hard for me to visualize. Is the sign at the same level of the building? I can use visual cues like, well, I know this window is a lot bigger than this sign, and since it's smaller, it must be further back. But there could be all kinds of little cues that aren't really given away. So how do we now create a stereoscopic effect? Well, stereo meaning 2, you've got 2 eyes, and because our eyes have a distance between them, each one of our eyes sees an object at a slightly different perspective. And so we want to recreate that, okay? Well, the first thing we're going to want to do is create a comp called the left underscore eye, and I'm going to use our standard 720 by 480, 1 second long, no problem. Okay, there's our left eye. I'll create another comp, and I'll call this my right eye. And I'm going to put the cityscape in each of these. Okay, so here's my cityscape. Now, I'm going to need to turn on 3D on this as well. And I'm going to go ahead and turn on collapse transformations. By turning on collapse transformations, I'm going to have all of that positional data terminate here in this comp instead of at the end of cityscape. All right, so now, how do we get a left eye and a right eye in here? I'm going to go ahead and turn it on here as well. Well, we're going to actually use After Effects cameras to be our eyes. All right, so on the right eye, I'm going to go up here to Layer, New, Camera, and I'm going to call this my right cam. And there it is. And we'll hit P for position, so we'll reveal these. On my left eye, I'll go ahead and add the same thing. Go to Layer, New, Camera, and I'll call this my left cam, C-A-M. Enter. And we'll hit P for position as well, too. So now that I've got my left eye and my right eye, I need to move these cameras right now temporarily to kind of get the idea of what would it look like if these cameras were moved to the left and then the right camera was moved to the right. So let's do that. I'm going to move this as a whole unit, so I'm going to hold Shift and I'm going to use my left arrow key, and I'm just going to press it once. That will take this to 350. On my right camera, I'm going to hold down Shift and press to the right, which will take me to 370. So here's what I have. My left eye sees this, my right eye sees this. Okay? Now I want to put all of this back together in one comp and show both the left and the right eye all at the same time. Well, to do that, let's go ahead and make another new comp, and we'll call this stereo. Okay, and we'll take the left eye and the right eye, and we'll put them both in here. And so here's what you have. Here's the left, here's the right. But I want to show both of these at the exact same time. Well, to do that, we're going to be using anaglyphic glasses. These are the glasses that we've sent you if you've ordered the kit online. And with these glasses, and you can use any regular standard red and blue glasses, it's not an issue. What's going to happen is we want to filter all but the red data. Okay, only the red data goes out on the left channel. Everything else will get picked up. And on the right eye, we want to filter everything but cyan. So cyan will get filtered and everything else will stay. And what will happen is our brain will fuse the two images together and actually see depth, because we have a picture from here and a picture from here, and they're both going to be put together here in stereo. So to do that, let's go to the left eye layer, and then we'll go to Effect, down to Channel, over to Set Channels. And that's going to bring up our Set Channels filter. So on our left eye, what we're going to do is only show the red channel. And by doing that, we're going to turn off the Set Green, right here where it says green to off. Okay, you get purple. We're going to take the blue and turn it off. And now what we have is a red image. Okay. On the right eye, we're going to add the exact same effect, but this time, instead of showing red, we're going to turn off red. An easy way to remember this is remember red, right. Okay, so we're going to say turn off red on right. All right, now how do we get both of these new color-coded layers, the left and right image, to show up together? Well, we're going to change our mode from normal on left eye to add. Now, if you put on your glasses, you'll notice a stereo effect taking place. The problem is it's not perfect. And the reason it's not absolutely perfect is nothing in this scene is on the screen. And that's very, very difficult for our brain to fuse this image together, because, it's having a hard time figuring out, what's in front, what's in back, and is everything behind the screen. But watch this. If I take the left eye and I just start moving it with my arrow keys, okay, and I'm pretty much zooming into this area here, and I'm looking at this sign, and by just moving this left eye's position, okay, so you can see here as I move it, okay, I'm just going to put that into position, and I'm only going left and right, okay, it does not work vertically, okay, so I'm going to just hit tilde so you can see this in full screen. Take a look at this image now. This image now, you can actually see some great depth. You can definitely see that the no parking sign is in front of all of those buildings, and you can see it very, very clearly. If you even swing your head side to side, you'll actually see it, this effect as well. So this is a really, really cool way of setting up a 3D effect. Now here's the problem, okay, and this is pretty much what we're going to spend the rest of this training product covering, is if you had to set this up no problem. You can remember to set up the left eye. You can remember to set up the right eye. The issue is, how much do you move? How much actual separation can you do? Do we move this camera? Should there be a better way? Well, definitely. There is a much better way. And that better way is actually setting up a complex stereo control rig. And by setting up a stereo control rig, anything that you want to dump into this After Effects project, we can pretty much turn into stereo. And we'll have a full control over how all this works. So this here is the bare bones boot camp style. Hey, I just want to do stereo effect, and I don't really care about the numbers. Just give me something to look at. Here you go. Now, what we're going to do is get into expressions and get into some of the nitty-gritty stuff and really get to figuring out how do we make this so useful that we could use it in production and use it on a number of projects. So I'm really, really excited about showing you how to do all of these cool effects. I want to thank Chris Glick here at our office, who did all of the research and development on this product and actually did some of these effects for our event where we had 3 December and did the whole opening sequence in stereoscopic. So that was pretty cool. So in the next lesson, we're actually going to go through and build our first slider and get used to writing some of the expressions that we're going to be using throughout this session on how to connect different layers to different sliders.